Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Archer Football Podcast. I'm Dana, Sonia, Lisa, Kate. All four of us are here tonight. If you guys are watching over on Facebook or Twitter, come on over to the YouTube channel, join our live chat, and so you can chit chat with us because we want your opinion. So tonight, first of all, we've been gone a minute because we always take little breaks in the off season to help with the burnout, help with, trying to schedule other crap that we have to do, all that sort of things. And so we've been gone for a minute. Really, I guess, Kate, since you and I came back from the combine is when the last time we were on. And so we are going to, listen, let's talk.
Listen, Linda.
We know you guys are so sick of draft talk at this point. It's the time of year where I have the weird lines on my face from my window. Sorry. Anyway, so I want you guys to know we get it. We get you're burnt on the draft, but it's draft week. We got to talk about it. We got to do it. So either you love it or hate it. That's the way it's going to be this week. But we assigned ourselves position groups, and poor Sonia. Sonia got the biggest position group. Sonia has offensive weapons. Sonia. I don't even know how you get that down to. There's only, oh God, vomit. Just stop it. At least I got quarterbacks. That's all we got to say. We're just going to stop that right now. Like the crappiest quarterback class ever. Sonia, first of all, how have you been, dear?
I have been dynamic. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said dynamic, but
it's a good word. I like it.
No, I've been good. I have been working and I have been working. But yeah. But no, it's great. I missed y'all. I'm so glad to be back, ready to talk some draft.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You got wide receivers, tight ends, and running backs. I gave her the biggest. I'm sorry. So anyway, we have Kate. Lisa, I'll get to you and your stupid quarterbacks here in just a minute. But we also have Kate here with us too. I let everyone pick their positions, and you picked offensive line. It's a dang good year to talk. I know.
I knew she would too. I knew she would.
How are you? How have you been?
I'm good. I'm good. I got made some big uglies.
Yeah, I love it.
Got it.
We got a lot of teams with me. They got a lot of teams that need offensive linemen. I'm about to go grab a glass of water.
Yeah.
And this is a pretty good class of them. So I had a hard time limiting myself to 5. So I may go over.
You have 7 minutes. I have a timer. And that brings me to our dear darling Lisa, whose birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Lisa. I hope you had a great day. When I sent out the text about the show this week, I said, okay, so we're going to divvy up these position groups. Lisa, yeah, you get quarterbacks. The rest of us will have. And then because we know better. We know you love them so. Even this class.
You get the leftovers.
Oh, even this class, you're even excited.
Even this class. I mean, the one thing about this draft that I love so much is it's not 100% on everything. I mean, usually a lot of times, honestly, the last couple of years, we can kind of tell you how like the first 5 are going to fall. Mm-hmm. And the puzzles are not going to fall until Cleveland picks. I'm telling you, it is going to be, and that's why I was excited when we decided to do this show. Mm-hmm. Because of the Browns. The Browns are going to set the market from 2 on. There's no doubt. Because we already know Cam Ward's going to the Titans. It's a known thing.
They pretty much announced that today. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, it's pretty much, when they canceled all the rest of the meetings and pretty much like, you know what? Look, we know. The Browns are the thing. The Browns are going to set. I mean, you're either going to love the one thing about the Browns fans, and I've been kind of trolling a lot of their people and their fans, even Kate, because it's either you're going to love this pick or you're going to hate this pick. That's kind of it, because it 100%. Seems like if you take a dual Carter, you're going to solidify.
We're not talking about your. That's
I know, but I just want to talk to Kate for a minute. You're going to solidify this defense. So I'm trying to incorporate my quarterback talk here because that is going to be a huge pick, because that's where we're gonna start our slide. To me, if the Browns do not take a quarterback, which when you look at the top 5, you got Cam Ward coming off. Let's look at the rest of the 4. We got Shedeur Sanders. Mm-hmm. He's a wild card. Not many people are high on him. I personally believe that the retiring the jersey was a ploy to try to booster that he's a great guy. There are so many other quarterbacks and so many other players from Colorado that have had outstanding seasons that if you're going to, retire his jersey, you might well do everybody else. Another one, Rashawn Salam. I mean, he was one. They never retired his. He's passed away. I mean, they did it. It's after. So there's a lot of talk about that. Jackson Dart, Ole Miss's quarterback. Potentially everybody's talking about him right now. He's a
up, down, up, down, up, down,
up, down,
crazy.
up, down. I mean, he's a 3-year starter. The thing with Jackson is he has worked with multiple offensive coordinators. So, and he has stride with every one of them. And as you know, if you are going to be a quarterback picked in this league in the top 15 or even the top 10, you're not going to go to a very good team to start.
Right.
So you're going to either need to, excel, change the culture, come in right away, try to win. Jackson Dart right now is getting the nod that this kid can do that because he can work with so many different coordinators. Jalen Milroe, I have found everybody on the talk with him. He's just a dual threat quarterback. There's nothing sexy about this guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexy about this guy.
He might be offended you said that.
He might be, but sorry. The truth hurts. The ones that I have even at 5 are Tyler Shaw out of Louisville and Will Howard of Ohio State. Everybody's overlooking Will Howard, which I kind of like. Yeah, I know. But I mean, as far as like a maybe 3rd, 4th round pick as a pick for Will might be something. I know. But I mean, I still kind of think, and I'm doing my quarterback talk really quick.
No, you're doing great. But Lisa, I have a couple questions for you.
Go ahead.
Okay, so really, Kristen has one for you too. So let's do Kristen's first. So Kristen wants to know who your favorite quarterback in this draft is. Hi, Kristen, by the way.
I like Tyler Stroud out of Louisville. I like his accuracy. I like the way he stays in the pocket. I think he progresses through his, and this is after Ward. Let me make it clear. Ward's my first. Okay. But that's the obvious choice, right? I think that as far as a second quarterback off the field, off the board, the kid goes through his progressions where you look at Stroud. You look at like Milroe, who they just come out of the pocket quick. Shedeur Sanders does the same thing. He's, and apparently he's horrible in interviews, but I would say my second one is actually Tyler Stroud.
I've heard that from other people too. So let me tell you guys, Emory, our good friend Emory Hunt puts out his draft guide every year. You know who his number 1 quarterback is? Number 1 quarterback. Sanders.
Really?
Over Cam Ward. I find this draft class fascinating with quarterbacks, Lisa, because there's so much inconsistency. We've had that the last couple of years. I mean, the Bryce Young, CJ, they came out pretty strong, but there's been other ones you go further down. I saw a comparison. It said Jackson Dart is this year's Will Levis, which I found really interesting because do you remember they were pumping up Will Levis right before that draft too? Poor kid shows up for the draft and doesn't get drafted in the first round, bails. Like you guys, we were here in Kansas City, and it was just like, I worry that the media hype to get people to get excited about players that just aren't that good get into the players' heads a little bit too. But I do find it interesting that Emory likes Sanders best. Of the quarterbacks you've mentioned, Lisa. So we know definitely Cam's going first. We know he's going to the Titans. That's done. Okay. Out of there. How many other quarterbacks do you think go in the first round? Does Sanders make it out of the first round? Do you think someone will trade up for him if he falls past
if you're going to
9?
have to come up and get him, I mean, they basically said, with Cleveland, like I said, Cleveland's going to set the bar on where they go and how people start to fall to me. The Giants are another one playing smokescreen. They absolutely say they're not interested in a quarterback, which is weird to me. If you're that high on Sanders, it could be just a smoke screen. You could come off at 3 at the Giants if the Browns balk and go Hunter or Carter or go somebody else. We just don't know. So I just find it interesting with Emory with Sanders because I'm hearing a lot of entitlement that the kids, just
we know
comes in with a chip on his shoulder because of his dad, and and why you shouldn't draft me is a lot of his interviews are well, this is why you should draft me. That's what he pretty much took control of a lot of the interviews of what I'm hearing. And I've heard it from several GMs that had said that he basically just comes off just egotistical. But do you like that? You like a quarterback that's going to come in and say, look, if you don't take me, you know, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but hey, listen, I'm not one to argue with Emory. I mean, I'd love to debate it with him, but you know, I'm not one to argue with him.
Mid off season in June when there's nothing else to talk about.
We can debate it. I'd never argue with Emory. You know, he's pretty spot on with a lot of his picks. Definitely.
So, Kate, there has been a lot of conversation about the Browns and their pick. There's been conversations about the Giants and their pick, and are they going to trade out of it? You're our Browns gal. We know this, right? Would you be mad if they traded out of that pick and got, let's say, a couple more further down and maybe one or two next year? Or do you want them to just take Travis Hunter?
I want them to just take Travis Hunter.
I don't blame you.
If they're not going to, then they need to trade. Because until they signed Joe Flacco, I was resigning myself to Shedeur Sanders. And so the reality is he would be the better quarterback choice in Cleveland. He's someone who would be able to handle the media, who's been under scrutiny his whole life, who would be able to deal with the crap that will be thrown at him. So I was resigning myself to that. And then they signed Joe Flacco. And I was so excited, not only because they signed Joe Flacco, I was a little aggravated because we should have just kept him last year. And then I wouldn't have had a 3-win season and I wouldn't be picking number 2. I would just like them to, if they're not going to take Travis Hunter at 2, then trade out of that. Swap first round picks with somebody and get another one later, because we have a lot of other things that we need. If signing Joe Flacco was their way of saying they didn't believe that there was a franchise quarterback in this draft, and I don't either, next year you get a quarterback.
For
Joe
sure.
Flacco will get you through this year. Next year you get a quarterback. So
go after the Manning. Go after the Manning. All right. So let's do this. Let's do this. Let's go ahead. And Sonia, if you don't mind going next, and we'll just finish up with, well, there's
my offensive weapons.
The offensive weapons after the quarterbacks. And then we'll
head to the trenches.
Then we'll head to those lines. That's right.
Get in the trenches.
So again, as I mentioned before, I gave Sonia a big job. I said, okay, let's just do offensive weapons. I told everyone just pick 5, your top 5, and where you think they might land or how you think they might go. And I was like, because we only have so much time. And Sonia's like, I'll take offensive weapons. I'm like, okay, wide receiver, running back, and tight ends. Good luck, because this is quite the draft for those positions, Sonia.
It is quite the draft for these positions. And I think I like it just because it's just versatile. And I think that there's some guys that can do a lot of things in this draft. There's a lot of talented kids in this draft. I mean, there's always talented kids in the draft, but I like these guys. And I think it's going to be fun to see where they're going. So I started with tight ends because tight ends, and I like them. They're versatile. Right. They can do a lot of things. I think the one thing I noticed about this tight end class, that there wasn't very many highly ranked tight ends out of Iowa. Recent tight end so that was just one thing that I did kind of notice. But the one that everybody seems to love is Tyler Warren out of Penn State, and he is the truth. I watched some of his film again, and just because I didn't really pay attention too much during the season because Penn State, but no, he is good. He gets up there, he gets the ball, and he's a big boy, 6'6", 250. He is a big kid, so I think that he would make a world of difference to anybody who drafts him, and especially if he goes higher. I don't know the draft order off the top of my head, but I can definitely see him easily going top 10. Yeah, easily top 10.
Yeah,
probably even number 3. I'm not even gonna, I mean, hey, right. He is a game changer, and I think that he has the potential to be a great tight end in the league. Now, I just went ahead and just kind of went and did like 3 or 4 for each position, but just kind of glossing over them.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I'm not gonna break them all down because other people. The one that I saw at number 2 a lot was Colston Loveland out of Michigan. Again, he is fantastic too. I think he was pretty much the offense for a while at Michigan this season, as they were trying to rebuild and figure out what life was going to be like outside of the Jim Harbaugh era. So he was very good. Liked watching him this year. He's going to make somebody very happy as well. Next one, Elijah Arroyo. The U.
Oh, sorry. Okay, yes, I got you.
The who? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
We got you, Lisa.
Had to. But
to.
he was another good player that I think really helped that Miami team and really contributed a lot. So I think he's a good one. Gonna go definitely first round, maybe later on first round. Maybe. Yeah.
I love him in Seattle. Definitely. He could last to 50. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
See, that's what I'm saying. I think he probably won't last till 50.
No, I can hope.
One can't hope. One can't hope. And then the other one that I found that a lot of people were talking about, we love the smaller school people. Harold Fannin out of Bowling Green. He was another one, 6'4", 230. Yeah, I like him. I like him because he's out of Bowling Green. And, not too many people think of Bowling Green as tight end university, but Kate watched him. Kate knows. Kate knows the deal. I think go ahead.
I would just like to say for the record that if you're from Ohio and you go to Bowling Green and you wear brown and orange in college, doesn't mean the Cleveland Browns are your first choice for a professional team to play for. And let me tell you, Dana was there at the combine. That was the first probably 30 questions he got was, do you want to play in Cleveland? Do you want to? No, nobody wants to play in Cleveland. Stop.
He's like, I'll be happy wherever I play. He was Miss America in that answer left and right.
And he will be happy wherever he plays. Will. And I don't think it'll be Cleveland, but I think wherever he goes, he will be very happy. All right. Moving on to the running backs. Who is our number one running back? Heisman Trophy candidate.
What?
Austin
first
Genty.
3 picks.
Austin Genty. Everybody knows that. Out of Boise State. We all saw the tape. We all saw how he did.
We saw the tape.
We did. We all saw him.
We
barely.
We did.
Because he's running so fast. Anyways.
Yeah, there's no question there. For sure.
Exactly. Just done. Okay. Moving right along. Omarion Hampton was another one out of UNC, was another name that I saw coming up. And that was another one that, we didn't see a lot because UNC, but still another big weapon. Somebody I think to add to the offense that I think will be a very big asset. Big Red, I don't know how many HBCU players are going to be drafted in the first 3 rounds. I'm going to say maybe 1 or 2. And I was going to think towards the 2nd and 3rd round. But still, I think that there are some candidates that will definitely be there. Steve Weish has been really shouting out those kids a lot. So follow him on Twitter, y'all. He has got the inside scoop on all those kids. So yes, he will have some great ideas about who could be going. And then out of that school in Ohio, Travion Henderson is another. And I put him on my list as that school in Ohio. So I had to. I just have to. He is another running back that I think will actually be a very good person to have on your team. Did wonders with the national champion, that team. Anyways, who lost to who? Okay. Anyways, moving on. So those are my running backs, guys.
She's taking her jabs, Kate. I hope you got some jabs coming.
What? I have to.
She has
Anyways,
to.
I have to. And Kate would do the same. She knows it. Wide receivers, moving on to the wide receiver. Yeah, I can't spend too much time because I had 3 positions.
I know.
And I had to kind of pick the best ones. It's okay. It's totally fine. It's totally fine. Wide receiver. So it was kind of funny that I really didn't see Travis Hunter in any of these. So I'm like,
yeah, I will tell you on my list because I have defensive line. I have the top of my list is Travis Hunter doesn't count for anything. He's just the best player in the draft. That's what I just.
Agreed.
Yeah, period.
Agreed.
Period.
That is.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, you have to say that, right?
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting that I didn't see him down as wide receiver. I really hope he does not play both ways because he's going to kill himself.
He's going to try.
There's no way he can.
He can't do it at the
and
NFL
every team
level.
has told him they'd let him.
I mean,
What?
yeah, but no, you can't do that.
Yep.
But I understand them saying, yeah, we'll let you do it. I mean, because they can probably just do what they do and scheme and decoy. Anyways,
They might,
moving
yeah.
right along. T-Mac out of Arizona. Number one candidate that I have seen a lot. It is Tedawara McMillan, but everybody just calls him T-Mac, and I love him. Very good player, I think, out of the Pac-12, if it's still a thing anymore. But yes, he was very good. Liked watching his film too. Just big guy, strong guy. Good to have him on your team. Another one, Matthew Golden, saw him play out of Texas. He's another good kid. Had Quinn Ewers throwing to him, so he's going to be a very good candidate, I say. Last but not least, because I like to go for the smaller schools, although they were in the playoff, is Iowa State's Jaden Higgins. Another good kid. Another good kid to watch play. Saw his stuff too. I mean, they're all great. They're all talented, and it's just going to be fun watching them fall where they fall. So yeah, look, I did that.
You're so good. I want to say,
positions.
So anyone who watches our show regularly knows Big Red is a regular, and we absolutely love and adore Big Red. So last year, he had a little bit of an obsession with Spencer Rattler. And so we would all do Spencer Rattler. Right. It's just a thing that we do for Big Red. He's got a new Spencer Rattler this year, you guys. Raheem Rocket Sanders is going to be a steal out of any team. He's going to be in the 3rd or 4th round running back. I can't wait to watch him now. Red, I'm totally gonna. I love me a running back, so I'm totally good with that.
Rocket Sanders.
Anybody named Rocket. Anybody named Rocket's worth a look.
We got you. Kristen says that she's excited for the tight ends this year. I definitely am too. Absolutely. Kristen, I want to wait till the end of the podcast. I will get back to this, but how many blue chip players do you think in this class? I think this is going to be a big class, and it's going to be big trench blue chip players.
Yeah.
Kate, do you want to go next, or you want me to go next? I'm happy to go either. Okay, all right. So Kate,
hit it, Kate.
Kate got the most important position to most teams in the draft of this year, and that is the offensive line.
We could see 4 go in the first round.
Oh wow!
Because that is a huge position of need for many of these teams. I want to talk about the center real quick. There are really only 2 teams that are looking for a center this year, and they're not going to go in the first round. But at some point, my prediction is that both the Tennessee Titans and the Las Vegas Raiders get them a center, and there are 3 really good ones. Seth McLaughlin from Ohio State University, Jake Majors from Texas. Sorry, I had to black up from the playoffs.
So many kids. So many.
Right?
And then Jared Wilson from Georgia. I think those 3 all get drafted. At least 2 of them do. And I think Tennessee and Las Vegas both need to need to fly home Sunday night with a center on the books. And they are all 3 big, strong, and very smart centers. And I think brains are they're important at nose guard and they're important at center. You're kind of you're that. When it comes to the offense, the guard position, I think the Colts, their biggest position of need is a guard. And I think Tyler Booker out of Alabama is one of the best guards in the draft. Another one that I really like is Tate Ratledge out of Georgia. I think either one of them would be a good choice for the Colts in the first round. In later rounds, when we look at some of the smaller school guys that I believe can get drafted, we have Jackson Slater out of Sacramento State. He has a ton of experience. He's got a great build on him for the NFL. He's 6'4" and 316, which 316 sounds like a lot, but when you're 6'4", he's got the athleticism for a big guy. And then Timothy McKay out of North Carolina State at 6'4" and 312. They're both built very similarly, and I think will adapt to the NFL game well. The tackle position is, though, where I think the depth is insane at tackle. I think the Patriots, the Bears, and the Cowboys are all teams that could very well take a tackle in the first round. You've got Kelvin Banks out of Texas, Will Campbell out of LSU, and Armand Membu out of Missouri are the 3 best. But Gary Zabel out of North Dakota State is one of my favorite players, period, in this draft.
Yep.
He could very easily end up in Dallas with the Cowboys and fall to them. As well as Marcus Embo out of Purdue. You don't think of Purdue as a school that produces linemen, but he's 6'5" and 300 pounds. And from a tackle perspective, he's someone that I'm really looking to make a splash and to make a name for himself if someone takes a shot at him. But I think we're going to see at least 3, if not 4. You could see 3 in the top 10 because it's a huge position of need for these teams. I think once you get past, I've got 10 guys on one sheet and I've got 8 guys on the other one, and these are just tackles and guards. Yeah, and I think they're all getting drafted. I think there's a lot of depth there, but I think there's also a space. So I think you've got like the top 5 and then a gap before you get, and then the rest of them are second and third rounders. So that's why I'm like, I see 3 in the first round, maybe even in the top 10.
Yeah, Lisa, go ahead.
My question is looking at what Kate just said, and oh my gosh, like you said, the list, and even at the Senior Bowl, there's so much talent. So my question for you guys is, if there's so much talent on the board, does that leave you the option to go ahead and take another player in the first round that you might coveted because this one's so stacked that you could easily pick up one of these guys in the second or third round and still be happy as pie? So does it open the door for teams to maybe take a reach on a player in the first round, knowing that they've got such a great draft, 2-3 rounds of these guys? So it just makes it, or is it better for the teams at the latter part where you're picking maybe 28, 29, and then comes back around? I mean, so it's so weird. It's kind of how will that balance when you have so much depth in the draft?
It's that fantasy football mentality. You'll have those teams who'd rather have the best running back. They'll take the 3rd or 4th or 5th best lineman because of that depth. They want the best running back or the best tight end or the top 2 quarterbacks. And then they'll wait till the second round because those first and second rounders are going to be close. I think there will still be high quality offensive tackles and guards available in the second round if they want to do that. I call it a fantasy football mentality. I want the best guy at this position. The 4th, 5th, 6th best guy on the line is still a really good get.
Yeah, I think too, it depends on what team. And I think that's one thing that makes this draft so unpredictable. And everyone is talking about how it's so unpredictable. And I think that's because there are so many teams who need linemen. There's so many teams who need an edge rusher. There's so many teams that need these guys that they going to be like, no, I want him. You know what I mean? Or are they going to do the fantasy football where you take the best position? Depends on who's on their team already. So let's say they're already stacked at running back. Let's say they're already stacked here, there, or anywhere, whatever position it may be. They don't need a quarterback. They don't need a defensive lineman. So then they can go ahead and reach for, get the offensive lineman. But if they have a lot of holes, and I think that's what we're going to see, teams that have a lot of holes, going to be a lot of trading around, playmaking. How can we get as many possible picks so that we can go ahead and fill as many holes as possible? I do find this very interesting though, that offensive linemen this year, the free agent market really kind of threw this entire draft for a loop, because the offensive linemen that were free agents got paid serious money. And it's one of the first times in a long time that they've been paid like that. So now is the offensive line one of those, we have to get him as a rookie position. And so it'll be interesting to see how the money of that kind of all comes out then. That's safe. Big Red says one position Atlanta doesn't need is a quarterback. All right. Okay, Kristen is like, I hope Hawks go for quality, but not quantity. I'm not sure which one. I agree. Oh, not quantity. Yeah, same. If we are going to be one of those teams, please get an offensive lineman for sure.
We didn't think the Falcons would take a quarterback last year, so
that is fair.
True.
That was the
very fair
draft. All right.
That's hilarious.
Well, but I think, on top of this, what you can see is this leading to a lot of trades. You have the Patriots at 4, the Bears at 10, the Cowboys at 12. Depending on how that top part of the draft goes, especially for the Patriots, would the Bears at 10 flip them picks and move up to 4, and the Patriots would get 10 and then something else. So the Bears can go get their linemen, or the Cowboys at 12 want to move up to get their linemen, and some of those guys are like, listen, I can get a good lineman later. I'll swap you spots. Do they move with a Charger or a Packer and switch to let them go get their guy earlier? We could see some of that happening too.
Kate, it's Jerry. He's going to sell the farm for one player and not have any other picks.
He is.
He's going to sell the farm.
The reality
is
it's not a sexy pick, and the casual fan wants big names. They want names they know, and if you're like, we're drafting Gray Zabel, half the whole fan base are going to go, who?
I know.
And then they're going to, you know what I mean? So
he didn't go to a real school.
You have to look at the front office people, and are they the kind of front office who does what's right for the team, or what's the sexy pick for the media and everything else? So there's a lot that plays into it when you have this kind of depth at that position.
For sure.
Agreed.
All right. So to wrap up this little segment, I did shocking defensive line. I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's actually just the defensive players because I have a whole bunch of different ones. So like I said before, Travis Hunter, he's wide receiver. You can't put him anywhere. He is just the best player in the draft. Whoever gets him, their team will be better. And so I think that he just is such a step above so many others. You know, he truly is a franchise making player. So I'm very excited for that. So what I did is I picked out my 5, there's actually 6. I had to throw one more in there. Defensive players, my favorite in order that I thought, that they were, had some good value. And then what I did about who was going to take them and where they might land, that sort of thing. I went and did mock drafts. I did 3 different website mock drafts. I did PFF, ESPN, and NFL.com to see where they kind of played. I know it's not accurate. People do not give me crap about this. I understand that it's not real life. I just kind of wanted to see where the value was being put with the computer systems because, they take that from information out there. So, of course, my number 1, Abdul Carter, Penn State edge rusher, absolute, crazy. He's just an elite player. Now, he's rehabbing from his shoulder. We understand that, but he's going to be fine. He's going to be a wrecking ball when he comes on to the field. I'm so excited about Abdul. So the mock drafts had him going to the PFF had him going to New England with the 4th pick. ESPN also had him going to New England with the 4th pick. And then NFL.com had him going to Cleveland with the 2nd pick. So I thought that was a little interesting. It's like New England seemed to be kind of the pick there. So the next player, I'm going to go through these fast because I know we're a little over. There are questions that have to be answered. So second, of course, is Mason Graham, Michigan defensive tackle. This was what I found out.
Stop it.
So what I found really interesting about him is that he was a former wrestler, because think about the skill set that would bring to that position. I found that really interesting. So that every word I just kept saying about him is he is just pure destruction. That's who he is, and that's what he does. So my mock picks had him going to the Giants with pick 3. The second mock had him going to the Giants with pick 3. And then the last one, NFL.com had him actually waiting until pick 10, Chicago picking him at 10, which I thought was late. I was really surprised by that one. So that one was a little interesting to me. My third favorite defensive player is Jalen Walker out of Georgia, edge rusher. I love those edge rushers. I do love them so much. So he's insanely fast, right? That's what he gets, out of his, he runs, he murders the quarterbacks. We know everyone kept talking about, and I looked in Emory's draft guide. He's really just an amazing edge setter. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays. The mock drafts had him going to New Orleans with pick 9, to the Jets with pick 7, and then to Carolina with 8. So 3 different places, but all right there in that kind of, top 10, but lower top 10 pick there, which makes total sense. Number 4 is Jahdae Barron. I know he is on everybody's list. Everyone loves a cornerback out of Texas. They said that his best trait is that he can find the ball. He will find it. Wherever it is, he's going to find it. And so this kid was a lot of fun to talk to at the combine. I really enjoyed him. He's a good kid. I'm excited for him. The mocks had him going to Atlanta with pick 15. And then second and third mocks had him going to Miami at 13. So we'll see if Miami. Lisa, I was going to ask you about that. Miami taking a defensive player. Does that make sense to you?
Because of the depth in the offensive line, I can see it.
Yeah.
With us losing Javon Holland and Nick Needleman. So I think that makes a lot of sense. I have us going with the cornerback from South Carolina, but I have us going corner or at that pick, just because of the depth, like Kate was saying.
Yeah.
At that, so.
Yeah. And Hipster Homebrewer loves himself a defensive player. So that's all right. Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So. And we have replacements. So he would make perfect sense too. I wouldn't hate it. Be honest with you.
Hate it. So I have 2 players at 5 because I just couldn't leave one out. 2. So my true number 5 is Jahad Campbell, Alabama linebacker. Let me tell you, Seattle needs a linebacker so bad, but I need him to go offensive line in the first round. One thing I kept reading about him over and over, and he's sideline to sideline. He's fast. He was compared to a whole bunch of really good linebackers. And so that'll be good. He and Jade in mocks were back and forth. Kind of those 2 were the ones that kind of pivoted back and forth on those ones. So my mocks had him going to Dallas at 12, Atlanta at 15, in Indianapolis at 14. So right again in that same kind of area where they expect him to grab. The one I couldn't leave out. Where are you, Big Red? This one's for you. Nick Imanwari. Oh, I love this kid so much. I couldn't leave him out. Now, he's not going to go maybe till the end of the first round, and I get it. But yes. Oh, my God, sure, Big Red. South Carolina safety. He's been compared over and over again to Cam Chancellor. He's big.
That's who I had the Dolphins taken.
Yes.
That's who I had the Dolphins. That's South Carolina. I'm sorry. I thought he was a cornerback. I thought he, for some reason.
No, you're good. No, he's a safety. But the mocks had him going to Minnesota at pick 24, Tampa Bay at 20, and Baltimore at 27. Do not put him in Baltimore. Oh my God. He would be so good. I would give
that's
my
who I had the Dolphins getting.
Yeah, I would give my eye teeth to have Seattle have him, but they have other needs that are more pressing at that. If John Schneider does it, I ain't gonna be mad. I'm not gonna be mad at all. I just don't think
so. Seattle going defense?
I think they're gonna go offensive line. I hope they go offensive line, and Zabel is very high on their list. I don't know, but John Schneider doesn't really care so much about those offensive linemen, so we'll see what happens there. But that is probably their biggest need, and linebacker, edge rusher. And we have a couple wide receivers we have to replace this year too. So
maybe 1 or 2.
Just a couple, a short one and a tall one. We got all kinds of stuff there. So,
but that brings me to a question, like for all three of you. I mean, every year y'all preach defenses win championships. So when you look at that second pick and you look at Cleveland and you look at Myles Garrett and you look at Abdul Carter, you would solidify that defense for 5 years. You'd give that up for Travis Hunter. If defenses win championships, why wouldn't you just solidify that defense?
He plays defense.
I know, but he's a cornerback,
but not on the line.
Do you want a shutdown corner, or do you want somebody that's going to put a quarterback on their ass?
So here's the thing. We just signed Myles to this big, huge deal.
Bitter.
If they had not re-signed him and he was just going to play this year and that was it, I would be like, they better get Carter so we can get the two together. And then I got something for when Myles leaves. With them signing Myles, historically speaking, they have not been smart enough to bring in an Abdul Carter. And that would be the smartest thing they could do it too, which is why they're not going to do it. Travis Hunter, they're going to say, gives them
best player on the board.
But then there's an offensive little, you could play the games on offense and you could throw him in a set every once in a while. Even if you don't throw the ball to him, you throw him in the line him up as a wide receiver in the slot. Defenses are going to have to pay attention to him. So they're going to want to outthink themselves. My preference would be to trade out of 2, maybe trade down to 10 and get some more picks and do something that makes more sense there. But I would not be mad if they took Abdul Carter at 2.
Yeah.
Historically speaking, I don't think they're smart enough to understand you have him and Myles because we've struggled so much offensively. They're going to worry about the offensive side of the ball. But the
Myles is getting older.
The defense is what gives you field position. A good defense helps a bad offense. We've seen it in how many teams, right? When they talk about that. So I don't know.
Kate, Kristen asked a great question. She says, is it depth for Washington? They're already so good. Earlier, she had Big Red had asked what a direct need for Washington was. Is it depth? They are already so good, but I think the point that Kate just made is actually a really good one. Bulking up that defense is going to help your quarterback not have to put these games on his shoulders so much, right? It's going to give you a little balance. Plus, look at who the head coach is. You know, you have Dan Quinn as your head coach. That's our LOB defensive coordinator. I mean, he loves those stupid, strong defenses, right? And so I think it's really, that wouldn't surprise me if in the first round they went and grabbed one of those excellent players. Could they use more offensive weapons? Absolutely. No question. Yeah. But at the same time, I just think that, to Kate's point, that field position and keeping your, I mean, he's still kind of a baby quarterback, you know, off the field would, you know, be helpful. So, yeah. So I think that is a really good point there. Any good kickers getting drafted? That's for you, Lisa.
Seriously?
Come on, Big Red.
It'll be you have one job, bro. One job. And that's going to be taken in the last round, okay? One job, last round.
They're kind of got important last year, we saw. So to answer your question, you know, for Seattle, John Schneider is very frustrating to me, and I try and take deep breaths when I talk about our general manager. But I think that if he's smart, he takes one of these offensive linemen. But am I going to be mad if he takes the best player available? No, because that they need some of those weapons too, defensive or even. God help me. The one thing we don't need right now is a running back, unless they trade one. Is what?
Seattle always takes players we've never heard of a lot of times. You'll go, what? And they'll sit there and they'll analyze him and they'll be like, oh, that's a reach. He's a reach. And the guy will be a freaking all-pro in 2 years.
You guys know the very first thing I ever reported on for football ever was when the Seahawks drafted Bruce Irvin and no one had heard of him. We're like, who the hell is Bruce Irvin? Ended up being a fantastic linebacker for him. So to your point. Sonia, I want to get to you here in a second, but go ahead, Kate.
I would just like to say that the top two kickers in this draft are both from Florida. Lisa, Ryan Fitzgerald out of Florida
State.
You got
one job.
And Andres Borregales played at Miami. One of them is getting drafted.
Doesn't matter. You still got one job. You can do that one job in the 7th round. One of them is
getting drafted. Probably 7th round.
Sonia, I want to ask you, Sonia, about your Lions, because we had such high expectations for them last year. They had such a good season, and then things kind of fizzled out. Injury. Is this a lunch pail draft for the Lions? They just need depth at every position, or do you think they're honing in on someone specific?
I think they need a lot of depth. It's kind of funny. I've been so busy, but I really haven't paid attention to a lot of the draft talk this year for the Lions, which is kind of fun because then I really will be surprised. But I think really, though, like kind of just building. I think they need a lot of defensive help or just defensive backups.
Yeah.
And I think that this draft is going to have plenty of that. And so, but I think if they went after like another edge rusher to kind of pair up with Aiden Hutchinson, I think that would be very smart and very good. But I have come to the point where Brad Holmes has not given me any reason to doubt him yet. And so whatever he decides, we must need, and I'll be good with. So if he decides to pick a tight end first, guess what? We must need one. I don't think
that's
happen.
The guy. Yeah.
I don't think that'll happen, but I definitely think that we need some more. We just need to build up our defense, get some depth in there. And I think this is a good draft to do.
Yeah. I think that there's a handful of teams that really, they just need to thicken the trenches a little bit. Just get some depth there, get some rotation
18,
in there.
18.
Yeah.
18. Yeah, they got 18th because of Seattle. A trade with Seattle is what it said. Yeah, and it looks like many of them are horning in a Mikael Williams, edge out of Georgia.
And that makes total sense to what Sonia said. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going back to make sure we haven't missed anyone's any other questions. I think we got them all. Thanks, guys, so very much. So here's the thing. We are going to be on our social medias doing draft day coverage. I am doing opening night, and then Kate and Lisa's doing Friday. Kate's doing Saturday, because Sonia has to go work with the babies all day. So we will be there. We also have saved all of our video from the combine, and so we'll be able to put up some of those videos that we talked to. Oh yes, Kristen, thank you. See, this is why we love her.
Oh,
blue chips.
Mm-hmm.
How many?
Yes, blue chips.
How many blue chip players? So, quick definition on blue chips: these are franchise players that change the face of a franchise, that are the top of their position.
We hit them all. We've hit them all pretty much.
I will tell you, I think of true blue chip players that are going to last a long time. This draft really seems to have a lot, like I said, on the lines, right? And so I'm going to say this draft, just on offense and defensive line, is probably going to give us maybe 3 to 5 blue chip players. I think it could be that big. Anyone else?
I think my solid is going to be Abdul Carter. I think as far as watching tape on him, watching his instincts, I think he is a surefire pick. I don't think unless he totally flops from what we saw in college, what we see on tapes, this kid should be the real deal.
I think the same with Jonty too. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Travis Hunter. I mean, there are probably,
I'm on the fence with Travis.
I think in 20 years, when we're looking at Pro Football Hall of Fame and they're looking at this year's draft class as who's Hall of Fame eligible or whatever, because their careers are done, I think there's 6 or 7 guys that are that good.
Wow.
That are going to have an impact on the team in the league. I think there are easily 6 or 7 this year.
Yeah. God, those trenches are so good. Sonia, what about you?
I would say at least 3 to 4. I think about 3 to 4 kids are going to be pretty good this year. I'm not I think Travis Hunter is going to definitely be there. I think Ashton Genty is definitely going to be there. Yeah, I think at least 3 to 4. Those are the 2 ones that stick out, but definitely.
Yeah, and barring injuries, right? Barring
injuries,
of
course,
stay healthy.
Yeah.
If these kids can stay healthy, and that's what. Well, and that's what worries me with Travis. I just, if Cleveland gets him, I just hope they use him well. That's the only thing with him is just he's such a great athlete. It's like, what are you gonna do with him? It's almost like over stimulating of your mind of what you could do with him.
Here's the thing. So I just hope, Lisa, I hope he doesn't go to a team that wastes his time. I don't want him in New England. Yes. I don't want him playing for the Panthers. I don't, that is going to waste the first 3 years. The first 3 years of his career until they build a team.
Yeah. He could be a team changer in Jacksonville.
I will say that
they have so many of the other pieces.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I did read today that there are a lot of teams in those conversations for slot 2 and 3 because of Hunter. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Yeah. Big Red asked us if Cam Ward should go before Sanders. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, Big Red, but Lisa thinks yes. Yeah, Lisa thinks yes.
Absolutely no
All
doubt.
right, you guys, we are way over. I'm so sorry that we are so long. I know the people who watch the other podcasts that I'm on are used to 2-hour shows, but I know that you guys are not. So again, keep an eye out. Make sure you're chatting with us during the draft. We will be on there. We can't wait to chat with you guys. We'll be mostly on Blue Sky. We will throw stuff over on that other site every once in a while too. But then join us. We're gonna be back next Tuesday because we're gonna wrap this up. We want to see what trades happened. We want to talk about, how right or wrong we were. Exactly. So we hope you guys,
fun part.
Right. I hope you guys join us again next Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be back. All right. Thanks everyone. Have a good night. Happy draft.